Okay, right off the bat, I'm totally not trying to replicate the relative success of my last video. Unlike in that video, I got my friends to come to my car meet for a change. Yeah, so, take that, Invader style.
Yeah, he's a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking life. That's right, he took his fucking spinner wheel's dick out, and he pissed on my fucking trust and feelings, and he said his dick was this big. And I said, that's disgusting. So I'm making a call-out post to my YouTube.com. Leader of Invader Style, you got a small dick. It's the size of this K car, except way smaller.
I got sidetracked. Where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. Testimonies.
Hey, Anthony, I'm gonna be making a video on, I told you about the whole dead car brands thing. Yeah. So if you could bring back any dead car brand, which would it be? What would it be?
Saab.
Saab. Okay, yeah, sure. All right. I'm gonna go around. Hey, Alex, if you could bring back any dead car brand, what would it be?
Ooh. Hummer.
Dude, this car's ass!
No.
They're kind of back though.
They're kind of back. Oh, I need a minute. Hudson.
Hudson, really?
No, I take that back. Pope Hartford.
What the hell is a Pope Hartford?
They used to make cars in Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Pope Hartford.
Okay, you're the only person who would know that shit. All right, Evan, if you could bring back any dead car brand, what would it be?
Mazda's luxury brand.
Oh, Amati never even happened. It was stillborn.
Exactly.
All right, Miguel, if you could bring back any dead car brand, what would it be?
Pontiac.
Pontiac, all right.
There's somebody.
If you could bring back any dead car brand, what would it be?
Pontiac.
All right, Pontiac.
Saturn.
Saturn? Okay, Saturn. Basically, if you could bring back any dead car brand, what would it be?
Put me on the spot. Oldsmobile.
Of course, because your Cutlass that you were telling me about earlier. Basically, if you could bring back any dead car brand, what would it be? Yugo.
Because it's weird and I think it would be entertaining.
Enough of that. On to the tier list. Alright, here we are in Adobe Illustrator for hopefully the last fucking time, because I'm finally starting to learn how to use GIMP to make thumbnails. I don't even know where to start, really. I mean, the last tier list video we started with a Swedish car company, so let's start with Saab. Do I need to say it? I have a very special connection with Saab, as my mom actually she bought brand new a Saab 9.3 Sport Combi with the 2.8 liter turbo 6-cylinder with a 6-speed manual. Honestly, coolest fucking car ever. And I'm a little sad that I never got to drive it because I was too young at the time. She drove that thing for forever, but parts access was a bitch, even when Saab was still a thing. Now, this is like a brand everyone wants to come back, and it's like a really weird sort of thing on where and how it even is working. Like, is the factory going to close down? What's even going to be the fate of what's left of Saab? So, it is an uncontested S tier for Saab. Please come back. As you can see, we have a lot of GM brands here. Half of the tier list, it seems, is GM. So, oh yeah, and fun fact, some of my European viewers might be asking, why the hell is Opel here? Why the hell is Citroën here? Oh ho ho ho! Well, we're also including car brands that no longer sell in the US market, with the exception of this bugger right here. Howling. GM's Australian brand, mate. Now, only like true car nerds really know what Holden is, especially the ones that we got here as like Chevrolets and Pontiacs. Like the Pontiac G8 was just a Holden Commodore, GTO, Holden Monaro, Chevy SS and Caprice Police Cruiser, also a Holden of some sort. And honestly, I don't understand why GM didn't just sell the Holden Ute as the El Camino here. That's easy money right there, boy. But unfortunately, I think GM just sold the SS with the intention of it to fail, because they were planning on killing Holden that soon anyway, and they were just fulfilling, I think, some kind of export quota. So, Holden is beloved by Aussies, but not really remembered by anyone else. So, for as cool as I think they are, we're just going to put Holden in B tier for comeback. Because it's not like we ever got Holdens here. Mercury. No, not Mercur. Mercury. Ford's, like, middle brand between Ford and Lincoln for the longest time. Unfortunately, unlike other car brands, it never really shed its grandpa image, and that's probably why it died. I'm not gonna do the same bit with the Buick for the Buick thing because I can't make a stupid joke about Kendrick Lamar with Mercury. But there are only like two cool Mercuries, maybe 3-ish cool Mercuries I can think of. There's the Cougar, the entire Cougar line, the Capri, and the Marauder. Those are the only 3 cool Mercuries I can think of. And I guess also the almighty Mercury Colony Park wagon with fake wood. Oh.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I did the stupid boat and the Hosho Marine joke again. So we'll put Mercury probably in C tier. Scion, one of only... Oh, wait, no, there's 5 Japanese brands on this. No, 6 Japanese brands. What am I saying? Scion, the weird, quirky Toyota brand for young people, almost exclusively bought by old people, unless it's an FRS. And I guess the Scion XB. And for some reason, a lot of XB owners I've met are furries. I don't know why. It's just a weird thing that happens with them, I guess. So, there's only like 2 cool Scions I can think of. No, 3, I guess. The XB, because it looks like my Wagon R if it had a Mario Mushroom, and I think it's kind of cool. It would be a good daily replacement if my Volvo ever dies. The TC, which is kind of racy and kind of interesting. Hell, you could literally get it from factory in the same paint scheme as Han's Veilside RX-7. And there's actually one in my town that I see every now and then. And the FRS, of course, which then became the Toyota 86 and BRZ. So thanks to Scion, we did get we were first introduced to the front engine rear wheel drive darling that beloved by sad boys and racers everywhere. So, but I don't really know if Scion was really meant to be a thing. But it'd be kind of cool if they were around. So I guess B tier for Scion. Our only Korean brand on this list, Daewoo. They only sold cars here under their own badge for a brief time in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I've literally never seen one. I've seen a few for sale. I've seen pictures of them. My mom said she used to see them around, but I have personally never seen a Daewoo in my life. And if I do see one, I'd probably get more excited seeing a Daewoo than I'd see a Ferrari F40. I mean, yours truly got to park next to one. So, you know, or should I say the Ferrari F40 parked next to me, as I was there at the show earlier than him. But anyway, Daewoo did sort of soldier on under other brands, such as Suzuki. If you bought a Suzuki Reno, if you bought a Chevy Aveo, sucks to be you own a Daewoo. I think we'll put Daewoo in D tier.
You just got killed by a Daewoo Lanos, motherfucker! How you like me now, huh?
Peugeot! Oh ho ho ho! Now, Peugeot, honestly, I think is so cool. All the French car brands, I think, are cool. Like, why don't we have French car brands in the US? That'd be so cool. And the only way we can get cool French cars is through gray market imports. So... And they're fucking expensive, too. Like, Renault 5 Turbos are stupid money. Like, insane money. And I think the only reason why they go for so much is because they're European. If that Renault had, like, a Nissan badge on it, or, like, a Toyota badge on it, there's no way in hell it would sell for as much. It's just rich guys wanting something European and refined. But anyway, Peugeot is so cool. Like, one car I would kill for would be a Peugeot 405 Mi16. Just because it's weird, but it's also fun to drive. Because most weird cars aren't really that fun to drive. The only fun factor for weird cars is they're weird. But the Mi16 is both fun and weird. So, Peugeot, I'd definitely say, is an A tier. And there were talks that would come under Stellantis, but best guess, we'll probably get some rebadged Peugeots in the coming days. I don't know. Now, let's just address the elephant in the room. Pontiac. S tier. You knew it. I knew it. It was going to go into S tier. It's the one GM brand that everyone wants to come back, except... it's the one GM brand everyone wants to come back, along with Saab, but Saab was never truly 100% part of the GM family. Even if yes, technically there was a factory LS Saab 97X Aero. Shout out to those guys. But Pontiac, if they were still around, they could be like GM's equivalent of Dodge. Imagine if GM made like a Hellcat killer. Well, the Hellcat's dead, but you know what I mean. And we could have gotten more Holdens under them. It's just had so much potential. And I know that Bob Lutz, during the recession, fought tooth and nail to keep Pontiac alive. But the government stipulated GM had to downsize, and it was a toss-up between Pontiac and Buick. And due to Buick's strong share in the Chinese market, GM unfortunately decided to kill Pontiac. Like, why didn't they just kill GMC? Are they stupid? Like, what does GMC even do? It's just a more expensive version of Chevrolet, so you can further bankrupt guys with their fragile masculinity, you know? Seriously, $80,000 for a pickup truck? What are we doing? Let's go with a brand that's actually pretty close to my heart alongside Peugeot, and that's Citroën. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now, I have a small family connection to these because my grandfather loved Citroëns, at least on my grandfather on my mom's side. And there's this really stupid picture of him. Okay, not stupid. I love him. There's a really funny picture of him sitting in a really crappy and shitty Citroën DS. You know, the really cool one that looks like a spaceship and is sexy as hell. And it is, like, so bad. It sat in the driveway for forever, and he never fixed it, and unfortunately he had to sell it. It seems the project car DNA runs in the family. So, yeah, I have a very special connection with these. I wish he was still around. I wish I got to meet him, because unfortunately he died before I was born. So, Citroën, A tier. Hope you're doing good, Grandpa Cowan. Even though Citroën definitely doesn't have the best reputation in Europe, from what I understand. If you're wondering why there's some really old brands here and not like anything like even older, because like what Alex said, fucking Pope Hartford. Who the hell is a Pope Hartford? Oh, I was gonna include a lot more, but I thought, you know, back in the day, during like the early stages of the car at the time was like the tech startup of the time. Like, a bunch of rich guys would get together, pool their money into making a car company in hopes of becoming the next Ford or GM or what have you. They'd make like 5 cars, then go out of business once they ran out of money or tricked investors. So we're not including every dead car brand, because if we did, this video would be 8 hours long, if not more. And on top of that, most of these brands died out with my great-grandparents. But on this one, Packard. My great-grandfather sold Packards, actually. And for a time, Packard was like the American Rolls-Royce. It was actually above Cadillac in terms of luxury. It was above all those things. It was like it competed with Rolls-Royce and was the only true Rolls-Royce competitor. And unfortunately, Packard died out once it was bought out by Studebaker at the end of the 50s. And unfortunately never got back on its feet. And honestly, it would be so cool to have American car brands able to properly compete with foreign competition. Believe me, I'd love American car brands if they didn't suck. Except Buick. I love Buick. Kinda. In an ironic way. So, I don't know. Packard lives on in our grandparents' memories. So, we'll just say Packard goes in C tier. And there was, at one point, an attempt to revive Packard in the 90s with the Packard 12 prototype. Some people think it looks ugly. I think it looks unique. And said company that made that prototype, they're still sitting on the rights to the Packard name like a greedy dragon hoarding its gold. And unfortunately, I think any comeback of Packard is just impossible because, like I said, only our grandparents remember it. So, Triumph, only British brand. Because basically every other British brand is too obscure to really mention. And MGB, before you say MGB, MGB is still alive, and I covered it in my dead car brands tier list. Not a dead car, my car brand fall off tier list. And MG was bought out by the Chinese and now makes electric crossovers overseas. Like, I went to Iceland and I saw some and I was like, look at how they massacred my boy. Because MG used to be basically a Miata without the TikTok tax. Hell, MGB still are in a way. But Triumph made, like, the big boy cars. Like, they made stuff bigger and crazier than MGB. Like the Triumph TR6, the GT6, and the other crazy ones that had inline 6s as opposed to inline 4s. So, they also made motorcycles, too. And the motorcycle wing is still alive today, but we're not a motorcycle channel. We're a car channel here on Dita. Subscribe to see more car stuff. Something. I'd say Triumph. They also made wedges. Last car they ever made was a fucking wedge. So I say we'll put Triumph in another B tier. Now, just hang on. I gotta check something. We gotta include one other extra brand. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I remember that we need to include another British brand in here, so give it up for TVR. Now, TVR is actually my favorite British car company alongside Lotus, because they're just balls to the wall insane. They just strap a V8 to the lightest chassis possible, say, with no anything, and just say, "Okay, mate, have a go at it." And they just go fucking nuts on ya. But unfortunately, TVR is basically dead. I hate to say it. I have a feeling they're gonna go out of business soon, because they haven't produced a car, to my knowledge, in years, and they haven't sold any car in the US market in probably, I'd say, 35 years. I think the last TVR to make it stateside was this weird wedge-shaped thing in like the late 80s, early 90s. Every other TVR is, you gotta wait 25 years for that sucker, and I cannot wait until you can import the Tuscan, or the Speed 6, or the other, anything else fucking crazy like it. I remember as a kid, I had a mouse that was shaped like a TVR. Like, I didn't know, it was just a car mouse. We just called it the car mouse, and we had it forever. And I didn't know for the longest time that it was supposed to be a TVR Tuscan, or Tamora, or something like that. And they're just so cool. Hell, there was a time where TVR made a car to rival the McLaren F1 and didn't build it because it was too crazy even by their standards. I just love the story of TVR, and I hate to see the fact that they're basically dead. They've been dormant forever. All they exist now to do is just supply parts for pre-existing TVRs. So, TVR, easy S tier. Speaking of S tiers, Saturn. Quirky and funny, and they still have a cult following to this day that refuses to die. Now, Saturn only had really one unique car, and that's the main cult around those Saturns, is that particular vintage in the S series. And it definitely, I think it's the S series in that time is going to be like a future classic. Like, because I hate calling 90s cars classics, but I imagine give it another 20 years, and those Saturns are going to be seen as like the most 90s car to ever 90s. Everything about them is 90s. Especially the wagons. Like, ugh, I love the idea of I've seen people put the pop-up headlight front end on the Saturn wagons, and it's the coolest shit ever. Sure, my sworn enemy owns one now, but, you know, that doesn't detract from the fact I still like Saturns. And they were a cheap and quirky car company, and it'd be nice to have something cheap and fun again. So, S tier. S for Saturn. Alright, more S tiers of biases. Suzuki. Easy. And before you motorcycle people say, actually, you can get a Suzuki motorcycle here. We're talking about cars, because we're not a motorcycle channel, we're a car channel. Believe me, I tried the motorcycle thing, it did not work. By the way, might be selling my Honda Hawk soon, hit me up. Of course, I mean, yours truly drives a Suzuki Wagon-R, and there've only been a few cool Suzukis that they never sold here. Like the friggin' Cappuccino, and Suzuki's starting to experience not really a renaissance, but like a slight renewed interest among enthusiasts, because now a lot of their cool, quirky K vehicles are importable now. Do I need to say it? It's a bias. More content on the Wagon-R is coming soon. Let's do our only Mopar brand right now, and that's Plymouth. Now, Plymouth could have easily been saved, and it probably would still be around if Daimler Chrysler didn't kill it off, because originally the PT Cruiser was going to be a Plymouth. And we know well how that sold and how that became a really weird encapsulation of
It's Britney, bitch.
how weird the 2000s was in terms of cars. Honestly, we need that weirdness back. And honestly, it'd be kind of cool if Plymouth made like a cheaper, stripped out version of the like Charger and Challenger and sold it as the Roadrunner or the, you know, Barracuda or something cool like that. But unfortunately, we never got that here. But I don't really know what Plymouth could really be given a case for. So, I'll just put Plymouth, probably in C tier. Opel. This is technically German, but we're gonna get back to them later. Opel. The Germans. Opel made some interesting cars, but modern Opel, from what I can tell, is kind of boring. Like, the GT, I don't think we ever got the Manta here. And the Manta was kind of like Germany's muscle car, and there were all sorts of weird jokes that don't translate well into English about Opel Manta owners being stupid. There's something called Manta Man. Like, let me give you some examples, yeah? What was left after a fatal Manta accident? A gold chain and a hairdresser in mourning. And why was the funeral held on Monday? Because that's the hairdresser's day off. What is the shortest Manta joke ever? A Manta parked in front of a university. What does a Manta driver say after crashing into a tree? Komm, ich hab doch gehupt. That's strange. I honked. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I mean, the tree one kind of makes sense, but everyone else I don't get. Just goes to show how good Germans are at a sense of humor. So, that's a bit of cultural exchange over. Opel, I'd say probably another solid C tier, because we did technically get a few Opels in the US, and I'm surprised GM just didn't do that. Sell more Opels in the US under the Buick line, because that's something they kind of did in the 60s. To an extent, they sold Opels in Buick dealers, and the Opel Insignia, that was just a Buick Regal they sold here, including the last ever Buick wagon. If they sold a manual Buick wagon, my life would be complete here. But, you know, GM isn't cool enough for that. Smart. It's not smart and it's not a car. Smarts are only cool because of the stupid engine swaps I've seen people do to them. Like the one with the Hayabusa motor in it. I think I've seen a K-swapped smart car. Someone put an LS in one because of course they did. But other than that, smarts were always a joke here, and they were only popular because people needed fuel-efficient cars during the Great Recession. And if because they actually, fun fact, Smart actually sold cars here up until 2019. Like, everyone seems to forget that. Everyone remembers the first gen, but no one remembers the second gen. I have seen some Smart cars at tracks. That is kind of cool, I will say that. So I guess we'll kind of put Smart probably in D tier again. There will never, ever be another smart type of vehicle like the smart car sold in the US. I'm sorry to all the smart car fans out there. Domu. Yeah, that's actually how it's pronounced. It's pronounced Domu. Because it's not dome, like a big circle. It's pronounced Domu because Domu means something like child's dream in Japanese, or it's like an acronym for child's dream. Now, Domu, I think, is still around making race car chassis, but we're talking about their production car ambitions at this point. And Domu made several crazy cool supercars or mid-engine sports cars a decade before any other Japanese manufacturer. Before the Toyota MR2, before the Honda Beat, before the NSX, before the... Okay, those are the only mid-engine Japanese cars I can really think of. And they were planned, and they had their cars straight set on the US market because it had an L28 from a Z in it. And honestly, it would have been so cool, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, Domu gave up on their ambitions at road cars, and I'm so sad to see it, but who knows how well they would have fared. I'd say solid A tier. Keep enjoying your Domus, race fans and Gran Turismo fans, because that's how we all know Domu even exists. It's because the Domu Zero, the car that I talked about, has been in, I think, every Gran Turismo game. Oldsmobile. Another GM brand that died, surprisingly, before the Great Recession. America's oldest car manufacturer, actually. Founded by Ransom Eli Olds, and then sold to GM, and it was founded in 1899. And fun fact, after Ransom sold Oldsmobile to GM, he just started another company called REO, Ransom Eli Olds, and then he made the REO Speedwagon. Is that JoJo reference? Now, before you JoJo fans say it's a JoJo reference, no. Speedwagon from JoJo is named after the band REO Speedwagon, which is named after the REO Speedwagon made by REO, Ransom Eli Olds' second company. Yeah, it's a weird butterfly effect. Oldsmobile is tangentially related to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in a way. And I just find that funny. their cars were always experimental and always funny looking, and that's what I like. Like, we need more funny looking cars that aren't so cookie cutter. And it is kind of interesting to see some car manufacturers trying to make interesting styling exercises, even if they're all on boring family SUVs. Like, the Volvo EX90 literally has, like, open-eye headlights. Close enough. Welcome back, pop-up headlights. So, I'd say Olds is a pretty easy A tier. Okay, let's just get the last 2 GM brands out of the way. Hummer! Now, you know what joke I'm gonna make. Cue the joke. Cue the joke. I mean, technically Hummer is kind of alive now as a sub-brand under GMC. I was debating whether to even include them here, but like, I will say the Hummer EV definitely encapsulates what Hummer drivers are and were back when they were new, but it just never seemed to capture the same zeitgeist as the original. So I guess we'll put it in A tier because, dude, those animals are so fucking funny.
They make me want to merge without looking. Yeah, Rumsfeld!
And the last GM brand on the list, Geo. Does this even count? Like, every single Geo was just a rebadged Suzuki or Isuzu. Wait a minute. We forgot to get into the Isuzu Zone. Yeah, screw you. We're getting in the Isuzu Zone, boys. Let's go. Ah, no, fuck it. Isuzu gets C tier. I'm sorry. Because, like, I mean, they made some really cool SUVs, and if I'm honest, like the original Trooper, that has a amazing alternative to a 4Runner, at least if you know, parts availability didn't suck. And the V-Cross, fucking hilarious. The Impulse, friggin' weird. I love it. But Isuzu now only makes trucks and SUVs in other markets, and the only way you can get into Isuzu is if you have a CDL like I do, and you drive an Isuzu box truck or something. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Anyway, back to Geo. It was an interesting idea, and we do need more cheap cars in America, but it probably could have been done better. And I don't even know how many people it fooled. Like, GM was clearly trying to sell Geo as a means of getting cheap and economical cars to Americans that didn't want to buy one of them foreign cars. But it was clear from the styling and from, like, if you looked on the doors, most of the doors said manufactured by Suzuki Motor Company, manufactured by Toyota, manufactured by Isuzu. There was barely any differentiation between them. At least trackers are cool, I will say that, because the Suzuki alternative wasn't really sold here very commonly. Like you see a million Geo trackers, you never see a Suzuki Sidekick. And those are kind of cool. I kind of like Geo trackers. But we are going to probably put Geo, I'm sorry, in D tier. But shout out to the time that I found a Geo Metro convertible in the wild for the first time and I lost my shit. Because it's not cool to like supercars anymore on YouTube. It's cool to like weird cars. Get on the bandwagon, everybody.
Can't even see it behind this Toyota, but for the first time in my life, a Geo Metro convertible LSI, no manual, but it's a freaking Geo Metro convertible. It's like this yellowy cream color, like banana cream ice cream color. Why was this made? Why, of all cars on Earth, was this made? How many miles are on this stinking thing? I mean, it's a 5-digit odometer, so I don't think you could really tell. I'm surprised about that. A car as late as like the early 90s still had a 5-digit odometer, and it wasn't even a domestic. Look how tiny the exhaust is, just a little pea shooter. Maybe a few inches bigger than my Wagon R. Actually, I think it has the same wheelbase as the Wagon R. Ensuring your collectible Geo Metro through Haggerty. It's terrible! I love it!
Okay, cutaway and flashback to real life Dita over. Speaking of D's, Daihatsu. Not a lot of people realize that Daihatsu did sell cars here. They sold, first off, they sold the Hi-Jet, the K-Truck. Yeah, the K-Truck in the US. Left-hand drive and everything. But it was sold as like an off-road only vehicle. And the engine was detuned to meet emissions. And it was governed at, I believe, like 25 or 30 miles an hour. And they also sold the Charade, which was kind of a ho-hum Econo box. And then the Rocky, which I think is so cool. And I would love one. Those are so cool. I've only seen one USDM Daihatsu in my life, and it was a Rocky, and I lost my mind. Unfortunately, due to Daihatsu's, I guess it was poor marketing, poor dealer network, and the fact that most of only the Charade was offered with an automatic, and all Rockies were manual only, which is, I think, sick as hell for me, you know, as an enthusiast, but to normies, it's not as cool. Even in the 90s, people didn't want manuals, which is a shame. Like, so, I don't really know about modern Daihatsu. I mean, the Copen is cool as hell. I love the Copen. I can't wait until they're legal. But we're gonna have to put Daihatsu probably again in C tier. Wait, no, not last French company. Renault. Oh. I like Renault because they just snorted a bunch of crack for a time and said, what if we made a mid-engined turbo hatchback? Oh. What if we made a weird car that was an Evangelion and a performance wing? Oh. What if we bought AMC and killed them? Oh. I forgot AMC. Oh. But not before. We put Renault in. Not S tier. A tier again, like all our other French compatriots. Oh. Yeah, I forgot to put AMC. Hang on. Edit. Go gadget. Editing magic. Can you tell this is a little less planned than my previous tier list video? Because this is the third brand that I forgot to include, and that's AMC. The last American independent car company that was always a little bit ahead of the curve for a time. They made, technically, what is considered the first crossover. Before crossovers were cool and actively started draining all life and fun out of the current car industry. Ugh. But at least this crossover actually had some off-road chops. Ugh, what I wouldn't do for an AMC Eagle Wagon. Same motor, same kind of concept as an XJ Cherokee, just in a weirder package. AMX, cool muscle car. They made some, like, honestly, if I were to get an American muscle car, I'm kind of torn between, like, a Mopar or an AMC. But yeah, Renault bought them out, or whatever, and unfortunately AMC went kaput after it was bought out by Chrysler. It's a whole friggin' mess. And honestly, they gave the big three competition, and that's what I miss. I miss the competition and diversity. Competition breeds innovation, everybody. So we will definitely put AMC in S tier. Not A tier for AMC. We already have done that a few times here. So, onto our last American/German company. Wait, no, this is the last American company here. I'm stupid. I can't keep track of all these brands. Merkur. Not Mercure. Not Morcor. Merkur. Honestly, if it had a better name, it would have succeeded. Like, if they called it something like, not Sierra, but maybe something like EFI, Euro Ford Incorporated, or something else interesting. Like, if they just gave it a better name, it would have probably sold pretty well. We could have gotten some really cool European market Fords, but we didn't. Yeah, there's a whole story about it. It was basically Ford's European division attempt at bringing more European Fords to America, and it failed. And originally, the plan was to sell Merkurs. One of the other reasons why Merkur failed was because originally Bob Lutz, I think it was Bob Lutz who ran the whole shebang, wanted originally Merkurs to be sold at specialty car dealers such as Porsche and alongside Porsches, Mercedes, etc. But the board insisted they be sold at high-end Lincoln Mercury dealers where only old people went to buy old Lincolns and other stuff. And you know, the salesmen always wanted to upsell guys on a big floaty boat town car rather than a weird exotic Sportster. So Merkur was killed by Ford's ineptitude and just being hard to pronounce and confused with Mercury. So B tier. Studebaker. Like, only, like, my dad remembers what Studebaker is. They were kind of weird, and what's interesting is Studebakers, from what I understand, were, like, kind of the American equivalent of Saab. Only weird people bought them in the 60s. People who were definitely in the closet and were afraid of being hurt because gay rights, unfortunately, didn't exist back then. Hell, they're kind of being eroded now. So, anyway, but they went out with a bang with the Avanti, and as I say, I think Studebaker, I don't know if they would be around. The only remnant of Studebaker now is somewhere in a field in Indiana at their old proving grounds, where the trees are still cut to spell Studebaker. I just like saying the name too. But we'll put Studebaker in B tier. Datsun. Now, people might be confused. Like, Datsun became Nissan in the 1980s. Like, seriously. It's literally like, they were literally trying to tell people to stop dead naming them. And the name is Nissan now, Dad. It's who I am, and you have to accept me. But Datsun briefly was resurrected in, like, Indonesia and, like, Russia for some reason to sell really, really cheap cars, and then they failed. But I personally don't think there's really a reason for Datsun to exist in today's day and age. So I'll just say D tier. There's not really much to explain about them. Although, fun fact, the Datsun name continued in Japan for a long, long time. The Nissan hardbody, that was sold in Japan as the Nissan Datsun. I know, weird. It'd be kind of cool if Nissan did, like, call some cars like the Nissan Datsun, like if they made, like, a modern 510 or something. Anyway, Alpine. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Honestly, one of the most underrated car companies in existence. The French equivalent to Porsche, because a lot of their cars were rear-engined. Not air-cooled, but rear-engined and weird. And honestly, if I had the opportunity, if I had the money, and if I had the money for a crazy cool YouTube car collection, you bet your balls I'd get an Alpine. Specifically the one that was an Evangelion, probably, that Misato drove. Oh. Anyway, there were talks to bring the A110 to America, but now that this generation A110 is dead and will be brought back as a electric car, why? And this A110 also was no manual. Why? But honestly, it would have been so cool. But oh well, just like everything, we never got anything cool. So S tier, easy for Alpine. I've saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. You go. F tier for fuck you. Although, as Caleb said, it would be really funny to see something as cheap and shitty as Yugo come to the US again, or something akin to that. But I mean, the country it was built in literally no longer exists, so, you know, Malcolm Bricklin, even though he's like almost 90, is still at it trying to make a cheap car. I mean, props to him, still on that grind, even as he's probably on the verge of death for all we know. So yeah, leave a comment to yell at me if you think my takes were stupid and wrong. And I'll leave my final thoughts. Come on, transition to final thoughts. Come on, do it now. So, what did we learn? I don't know. Corporate affairs always ruin fun, I guess. That, and the worst part about the Great Recession of 2008 was the fact Gen Z will never own a home. No, it's actually because we lost Pontiac and Saab, and all the good S chassis and 80s trucks were crushed in cash for clunkers. I've been Dita. Thank you for watching, and stay safe. No, I'm sure I've milked this tier list stick dry. Don't ask.